Welcome to the Inject Creativity Live Show. My name is Rob the Robot from the Adobe Education team. This is a free online show for primary, secondary and post-secondary educators interested in enhancing digital literacy, communication and creativity in the teaching and learning process. Here are your hosts, Dr. Tim Kitchen and Aaron Raithke.
Thanks, Rob. Welcome to Inject Creativity Live, a show aimed at empowering the next generation to be lifelong digital creators with the help of Adobe tools. Welcome, Aaron.
Hi, Tim, and a special welcome to those who've joined us live and those watching on demand via the Adobe for Education YouTube channel or the Australasian Adobe for Education Facebook group for this, the 80th episode of Inject Creativity Live, being recorded in October 2022. This is a special post.
For those of you who are with us live, we do encourage you to say hi in the chat, share where you're from, and add comments throughout the show.
We have Tim Cosgrove from Canada in the background monitoring the chat, and he will share the most relevant comments as they come in.
Let's start this episode with an acknowledgement of country. We respect and honour all Indigenous people from the lands we reach out to during this event. We acknowledge their stories, traditions and living cultures. We acknowledge them as the first educators and the first creatives, and we commit to building a brighter future together. Well, I'm coming to you from Wurundjeri land in the Kulin Nation, otherwise known as Melbourne, Victoria, Australia.
And I'm coming to you from the country of the Jagera, Yugara and Agurapul people from around the area, otherwise known as Brisbane, Queensland, Australia.
Let's welcome our techie whiz and Adobe Senior Customer Success Manager, Jerry Wong, to the stage. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, everyone. I'm coming to you from the home of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, otherwise known as Sydney, New South Wales. During this episode, we have Adobe Education Leader Emeritus, the wonderful Juliet Bentley, joining us.
We'll be chatting with Juliet about the recent APAC Adobe Education Summit.
Juliet will be sharing her highlights and recommendations, especially for those of you who were sadly not able to join us live at the actual summit event.
We'll also be sharing a number of Adobe-related education resources and professional learning opportunities for you to take back to your schools, universities, and other places of learning.
We do hope you enjoy this episode.
And if you do, please share it with your colleagues and wider education networks via the Adobe for Education YouTube channel.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Aaron Raithke.
Well, let's meet our special guest for this episode, and welcome back to the show, Juliet Bentley. Hi, Juliet.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Aaron. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Juliet.
Nice to see you.
So, Juliet, for those who have not met you before, please tell us about the work you do and the recent change you've had in your career.
Well, I've been in the classroom for 33 years, and all of a sudden, when most people think about retiring, I'm starting a new career. So I now work for Datacom, and I'm an education innovation specialist. So that's really teaching a whole pile of wonderful things. I'm getting to use my skills in lots of areas, including showing Adobe, which is good.
Juliet, tell us what makes you tick as an educator?
I think I've always been somebody who'd like to share and help other teachers. And now I'm in this other role, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm working with teachers to support them in the classrooms. And that's probably one of the most exciting things, because what I do there now will impact a much broader range of students and help them learn the skills they need for their tomorrow today.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Juliet, and we're looking forward to hearing more from you very soon.
Now it's time for a quick Inject Creativity Live Adobe Express tip.
Oh, poor Rob, he did have COVID when we recorded that little section there. It kind of explains why he's got
a little bit
voice. All right, let me
fine.
Share.
He and a lot of other people.
Exactly right. So I've logged into Adobe Express like millions and millions of teachers and students all over the world do on a daily basis, even on weekends. It is just the most amazing package of software, and it's getting better and better all the time. want to show you a couple of interesting features that are, well, relatively new, or certainly new to me anyway. One thing, I'm just going to share my little pointer so you can see where my pointer is going. And I'm going to go across to this section here, which says from your photo. And this is pretty cool. So when you click on that little section, you can actually bring in a photo and then create your graphic based on your own photo, like starting from your photo and building it that way, which I thought was pretty cool. Now, Erin, is that a feature that's just on the education side, or have you seen that as a common feature before?
Well, let's have a looky-loo, because if I jump back in to the main dashboard of Adobe Express in a non-education account, it indeed has that from your photo button, and I could have sworn it was not there when I was updating the resources for the APAC Summit. So
that's probably
that
a
is
brand
very
new
new.
feature. Good. I want to show you another quick feature too, which is
So I've learned something too.
quite as brand new. So I'm going to go and start creating something. So I'm taking my cursor over to the magic plus or add button, and then I'm going to go down to, well, look, instead of going right to web page, which doesn't seem to be, oh, here it is. I'm in the education version. Notice on the education version, there is a section here called portfolio, which doesn't appear in the non-education version.
That. No, it does not, Tim. They have a much shorter list of options in the non-education one. So that's great fun.
And so when I click on portfolio, it's just like going into creating a web page. Oh dear. I should have logged into my school account a bit earlier than that. What I might do is, Erin, unless this really quickly jumps back in again, because I'm sharing.
Wait, don't jinx it, but it looks like it's cooperating.
Have you got Express already opened up on your screen?
I've got Express open on my screen, but it's a non-education version.
Actually,
no, there it is, Tim.
I'm up now, which is fine.
Yep.
So this could be creating a web page, could be creating a digital portfolio. But one thing I wanted to show you, when you're building your web page, and if you wanted to bring in a photo, you've got the magic photo button that's been there for a long time. And of course, you've got the standard options of uploading any photo that you've got on your device, or going into Adobe stock and searching for literally millions of stock images. But you may not be aware that this little ellipsis tool here gives you alternative sources of images. And when you click on that, you can even go to take a photo. And when you click the take a photo, it activates your webcam. So I can click on that little magic button. I get 3 seconds, 2, 1, and it's taken a photo. I could confirm that I'm happy with that. And so now that photo appears on my web page, which is something you could do in the past when you had an iOS version on your iPhone or your iPad of Spark Page, as it was called. But now you can do it all within the browser, which is really exciting and a nice new feature to be aware of. What do you think of that, Erin?
It is great because you've been able to plug in your webcam to Adobe Express in the video component for a while. So it's really great that this is now like pulling across into the graphics side of things. A lot more simple than trying to balance doing things in the project using the app on your phone and then switching back to your desktop.
Absolutely. Let's hear from Rob again.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Radke.
In the last week of September, we ran the 2022 APAC Adobe Education Summit.
About 20 Adobe education leaders, including Juliet, met up at the Adobe Sydney office to present to thousands of teachers online across the APAC region, with a focus on helping teachers and students enhance their digital creativity, communication, and creativity skills. Here is what we got up to.
Let's have a quick look. Now, no one's ever seen this video before because it looks like the one that I've got on the Summit site, but it is slightly different. In fact, Erin hasn't seen this one before either. The 2022 APAC Adobe Education Summit was a wonderful opportunity for Adobe education leaders to meet up again face-to-face after 2 years of COVID restrictions and present to thousands of teachers all over the globe with a focus on enhancing digital literacy and creativity in education. Over 4,000 teachers visited the main summit site to find out more just prior to the event going live. The overall summit involved a pre-summit day on Tuesday the 27th of September exclusively for Adobe education leaders, as well as members of the Adobe Creative Educator program, and the main summit event was on Wednesday the 28th of September. The summit involved 18 presentations, including a range of classroom success stories and creative catalyst talks by Adobe education leaders, product presentations and updates from Adobe product team members, as well as the global Adobe education team. 2 keynote sessions from Dr. Tim Paxton, one of Australia's leading researchers in creativity and innovation in education, as well as over 40 online workshop options. It's been a fabulous couple of days. Have you enjoyed it?
It has been fantastic, Tim. I've really enjoyed seeing everybody in person for, in a lot of cases, the first time ever.
Yeah, your first summit.
I only became involved in the Adobe Educator program in March, April of 2020. And so we all know that timing was a little bit hectic. So I've been really involved in the community, but it's so nice to be able to put all of these faces and names that I've met over the last couple of years into 3 dimensions.
Well, it was 2019 when we last were able to have a summit here at the Adobe office in Sydney. So it's been terrific to have a whole lot of AELs come together, some for the first time like Erin, some who have been to just about every summit since the beginning of summits here at the Adobe office. What's been a highlight for you, Erin?
Well, I really enjoyed Dr. Tim Paxton's keynote, and it was also a wonderful eye-opener for me to see in the chat, both on Vimeo and in Twitter, just like the scope and reach of the APAC summit. We had people from all over the place joining us, participating, contributing their creative challenges, and it was just so nice to have such a wonderful community uniting for Adobe in education.
Over 4,000 teachers had a look at our site in preparation for taking part, whether they're there live, whether they're going to be watching it on demand later on. All the material is there. And Dr. Paxton was a fabulous keynote. So good to have a world expert in creativity here with us in his presence, learning from him. It was a highlight. A highlight for me, besides Dr. Paxton, was listening to the AELs talk about their creative catalyst talks or their classroom success stories. There were so many great stories, so many great inspirational stories that people can share and pass on and learn from each other. Any other highlights for you?
Well, what I'm really looking forward to, because I was hosting with you and doing moderating through all of the chat, I'm looking forward to going back to Vimeo and being able to watch the live stream again.
Thank you to everyone involved. Thank you to all the AELs who were presenting either workshops or running creative catalyst talks or classroom success stories. Thank you to Wilcar Productions for putting the whole production together. And thank you to you, Erin, for co-hosting it with me.
Oh, I appreciate being involved. Thank you so much, Tim. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Good. And that's the 2022 APAC Adobe Education Summit. Done and dusted. Folks, keep being creative. Well, let's welcome Juliet back to the stage to chat about her highlights of the summit and provide some recommendations on which sessions we should all be revisiting. Hi, Juliet.
Hello, good to see you again.
Now, before I start sharing some of the images that I've captured from the summit, tell us, what was your favourite part of the event?
I've got to say I really loved Drew Mayhill's work. He was talking about creating it like a hothouse for student artists and introducing them to, industry, to the idea of experiencing, having an audience, a real audience, and sometimes a paying audience, which was really exciting because teaching young artists the business side of the work is a very big deal. Drew was fantastic, but Joel Aarons came up with a wonderful marriage of some ideas he'd seen with Jason Lane and took Minecraft out. I think he used Error to take a Minecraft out into the schoolyard, so you could actually see it and walk around it, which I thought was very, very clever.
It's the ninja
There were
course.
so many. It was a ninja course.
Yeah.
It was really, really clever.
Yeah.
Very nice marriage of many ideas coming together and supporting one another.
So we're jumping into my journal, timkitchen.net. And Jerry, I don't know if there's a banner already preset for that, but if you want to quickly create one, timkitchen.net, so people can have a look at this as well. I'm just going to scroll through. That's one of the videos, summary videos that we made, and you can look at that in your own time. This was our studio. This is where we did all the creative engaging, and you can see Dr. Patston and myself are at the front there being filmed. If you look at the back center in the back corner there, you can see Erin's getting ready to go live with a cross. So we set up the studio like a television studio with different aspects to it, and it's a lot of fun. As we go through, there's the wonderful Erin and myself doing some hosting. And Juliet, we did connect with the American team, the global team. Ben Forder, it's fantastic always to have Ben with us. You've met Ben before, haven't you, Juliet?
I've actually met him on a couple of occasions, and he was there at the very beginning of my Adobe journey, because you were both showing everybody at a PD what was going on with the beta version of Slate, which turned into Spark, which has now turned into Adobe Express, which is Spark on steroids. It's just amazing. But he's such a lovely man, such an easy man to work with. And he came up with, I've actually got a copy of it here somewhere, a book about how to use the Adobe Spark suite as it was then, which is still really very useful to dip in and out of. Yeah, but a lovely, lovely man.
He's terrific. He's the Global Senior Director of Education Initiatives, and he is the manager of all of the Adobe evangelists around the world. And they're a great team. If ever you're on the Adobe Education Exchange and you see one of the evangelists creating a lightning learning course or doing something, he manages that particular team, which are very talented. We also heard from Tacey Trowbridge, and Erin, you wouldn't have ever met Tacey before. She has been to Australia, but it was a while ago.
Well, I've only ever met her when she has been guesting on this show. Yes, which was lovely. We had very brief chats because obviously it is a challenge that everyone stands up to make the time difference work when she has appeared on our show.
And she hosts the Creative Educator podcast, which is a fabulous podcast, which you can get on any of the good podcast apps and look up the Creative Educator. And Juliet, you've actually featured on her show, haven't you?
I have, and I also met her a couple of times now. Very inspirational woman, and it was wonderful. I felt so honoured to be featured on the show. I think actually you were discussing what I was doing, which was rather nice.
That's right. It was me featuring talking about you. That's right.
Absolutely.
There we go.
No,
she's fabulous. She looks after the thought leadership and advocacy work for the Adobe Education team, and she presented some amazing research, which is really looking at the value, the practical value of learning Adobe tools, particularly in a higher ed context, and how that has improved your outcomes, your educational outcomes and your vocational outcomes. Fabulous research. Who's that wonderful person?
Shocking photograph, but thanks for that, Tim. Yes, I was doing the challenge and introducing people to a wonderful, very quick opportunity to share and play in the Adobe Express graphics challenge.
And we had lots of entries throughout that particular day at the main summit.
I just realised I'm wearing the same shirt.
Same glasses, same shirt.
Same glasses, same shirt. I need to fix my wardrobe.
And there's Drew. You mentioned Drew, all the way from WA.
He has a wonderful, I mean, they've got a thing called the Studio School too, which is is that Tasmania? I'm not sure. But really interesting that he got them doing some work with an artist, an Indigenous graffiti artist, if I remember rightly. And they ended up creating an incredible wall at the City of Melville, a mural that was featuring the students' work. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
But what an inspirational educator, because honestly, he had so many brilliant ideas and was just so polished and really so authentic and genuine.
Very inspiring.
Then we have our
wonderful Brett Solakis had joined us too. We actually did this as a fill-in because we had to make a quick change at the last minute, and so I really appreciated his time, and it was wonderful. Erin, do you remember what his session was about?
Well, when he was going through everything, he was sharing with us one of the was it DALI? It was DALI, because I always get the different AIs mixed up. Yes, the DALI. So you actually come up with the concept, and it's so fascinating what the computer comes up with versus the doodles that our creative educators were doing on the spot. So we had like a nice little bit of live interactivity with us on a whiteboard with pens. Quite disadvantaged to the scale of depth that the AI could come up with when it was given the same Mad Libs prompt. It was so interesting.
Now, of course, you can click on any of these pictures and you'll see the actual event itself. You can just watch them. And if you go to the main summit site, it's still worth going. I'm just going to jump in there now. So this is the main site, which you can see in the banner that's scrolling down, the ticket that's scrolling down the bottom of the screen there, adobe.ly/apac-edu-summit22. It'll take you to this site. And when you jump to this site, you can see the team, you can see the video, you can see the studio. And then each one of these links is a link to the different aspects. So we've got the main summit program. So if you wanted to see Brett Salakis's session, you could just jump into Brett Salakis, click on Creative Catalyst Talk, and then that'll take you directly to the Vimeo page, which has his particular presentation already in there, ready for you to have a look at, and just click play and away you go. So there's multiple ways of looking at this work. Brian Johnsrud joined us from America. Michelle Dennis did a great presentation. I'll just flick back.
She did.
Let's see if we can see it.
She did something on the ikigai, the idea of a correlation between the things you're good at, the things that make the world a better place, and also things that the world want. And I thought that was a very unusual idea. Ikigai, that's what it was. A Japanese word with a great message. Get involved with things that drive your passion.
I've got something to fix up there. The link has gone outside, so it's working on the picture, but I'll fix it up later on. Dr. Paxton, he did 2 keynotes. This is his main keynote at the main day. He also did a keynote at the pre-summit. What I want to highlight here is this fantastic visual infographic that was created by Adobe Education leader Andrew Onyele, who is from New South Wales, and he wasn't actually physically there, but he did this while watching it online. Let's see if I can make that a bit smaller. So
see the whole thing. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I saw that that popped up in the hashtag Adobe EDU Creative that we were all posting to that day, and I was blown. Like, it's such a wonderful visual summary of his talk, and it actually makes me want to watch it back again just so I can have the talk on one screen and this beautiful illustration on the other, and follow his thought process around as I listen to Dr. Paxton talking.
Actually, I think that the thing that really I took away was the tolerance of ambiguity that Dr. Tim Paxton was talking about, and that being such an important skill for the future workforce. We've got to really think about building that into what we're doing with our students in a classroom now, I think, and develop those skills.
There was a lot involved. And then after his presentation, we went into workshops, and I want to thank all the Adobe Education leaders. We had 30 online workshops on the main summit day. We had 16 workshops at the pre-summit event. So a lot of work, a lot of effort was put into those. And then the rest of this particular journal article goes into the pre-summit. So we had a presentation from Ben. We also heard from some product managers. So if you want to find out a bit more about Photoshop Express, Kathy Shao is part of the, she's a product manager with Adobe, and she looks after Adobe Express. John Barry gave us quite an insight into Premiere Pro and new features of Premiere Pro, gave us a bit of a hint about what's happening around the corner with Premiere Pro, and then went into Adobe After Effects as well. So it was great to have John with us. He came through us live, even though he was from Melbourne, he came through live. Stephen Colbert
was fantastic too.
Yeah. What do you remember about him, Juliet?
I like what Stephen does with the English classroom. I mean, I think people assume that when we talk about Adobe, we're talking about ICT classes and digital classes and digital solutions, but it's not. it can go into any classroom. And Stephen's done a beautiful job of sharing that and the range of ways that Adobe can be used in the classroom. But he's a thought leadership person that I have been following for a while, and it's been nice to meet him a few times now.
Yeah, he's very tall,
interesting man. Incredibly. It makes me feel delicate. I don't mind that too much. And then there's Aaron.
I was about to say,
Wonderful
he is very
Aaron.
tall, but I'm very used to it. I'm only 5 foot tall, so he's like an extra half a person higher than me. So
yeah, a wonderful man.
And yeah,
but Ali was showing
wonderful.
some fantastic things too. Yes, she had a wonderful idea of vision boards and taking elements of the vision boards. I thought that was really clever.
Ellie's going to be on the Inject Creativity live show in a few episodes' time, so we can look forward to hearing more from her then. It was great to have Lauren with us at the pre-summit doing a Creative Catalyst talk. Lauren couldn't join us for the main summit because the Australian Council of Education Leadership Conference was also on in Sydney at the same time, and she's on the executive of Melbourne Girls Grammar School, and so she was invited to that other conference, which was for principals and deputy principals. So it was great to have her for at least one day.
Yeah.
And we heard from Elwyn Hunt, who's on the Substance team, about what's happening in the world of Adobe in 3D, lots of special announcements. Elwyn's going to be joining us on this show in a few weeks' time too, so stay tuned for that. We'll be getting some more information about all things Adobe 3D. There we go.
This was Joel Aaron.
Yeah.
We did
So
mention
tell us
Joel
again,
Aaron.
This was pretty spectacular.
why was this a
Joel
highlight?
Oh, sorry, I keep interrupting you. I just think having the AEL support, this is why the summit's so important, and the Inject Creativity is so important, and the Teach Meets, because teachers are supporting each other and sharing ideas and then building upon them. I mean, Joel was using an idea that Jason Lane came up with and married what Jason was doing with what he wanted to do, and took, as I said earlier, the idea of like a Minecraft sort of ninja obstacle course out into a classroom. You're still able to travel through it, and I thought that was really amazing. And I think
it was a wonderful
was
bit of
error.
Cross-pollination, wasn't it?
Yes.
So,
it
sorry
really
to everyone
was.
watching, we're experiencing a little bit of a delay on our end. We don't know whether or not it's affecting your end, but if we keep talking over the top of each other, we're not trying to be rude.
All right,
I think there's just a bit of lag.
We need to wind up this session. Adi Chopra from India. It was great to have her.
That was really good too.
Live, and all the technology worked well, and she's an inspirational school principal just outside of New Delhi in India, and she shared about what's happening in her school. And then Dr. Paxton, he ran his first keynote there. We had some great feedback. Have a look at these stats here. The content of this event met your expectations. Well, look at that. We had, what's that, 94% were agreeing or strongly agreeing, which is just awesome. The content was relevant and useful. Again, great statistics there. The event increased my knowledge of Adobe tools and programs, and lots of fantastic feedback. You can always look at that at timkitchen.net, and a list of some of the highlights that people have shared, and there's some other photos there of the
Yep, I'll just pop that link into the chat as well for our viewers to get. Tim?
Wonderful. And I think we'll have a picture of Juliet not wearing her red dress. Maybe
great.
Have it. There we go. So don't forget that that's available at timkitchen.net, but also if you go to the Summit site, it's also the links to the main recordings are there as well. And I want to promote Dr. Paxton's book. It will be coming out. He emailed me yesterday. It's coming out on the 31st of October. So it'll be available to purchase then. So that's a wonderful resource to have as educators who are really serious about knowing more about creativity in education. Julia, thank you for that summary, and thank you for your thoughts and your highlights. We're going to hear from Brian Johnsrud now before we proceed to finish off this episode.
Hello, welcome from Adobe's Global Education team, and thanks for watching Inject Creativity Live. If you're looking for more inspiration, learning, or resources, come join us at the Adobe Education Exchange at edx.adobe.com.
Well over 1 million teachers have joined the Adobe Education Exchange to get lesson ideas and professional learning based on making the most of their Adobe applications in the classroom.
One of the most popular courses on the Adobe Education Exchange is the Creativity for All course, which, when completed, allows you to join Level 1 of the Adobe Creative Educator program.
So far, over 58,000 teachers have enrolled in the Creativity for All course.
If you look up adobe.ly/ACE, you can do the Creativity for All course on demand at any time on the Adobe Education Exchange and get your ACE Level 1 badge.
Alternatively, Erin and I run the Be a Creative Educator course almost on a monthly basis to help guide teachers through Level 1.
Look up adobe.ly/creative educator and note that the next opportunity for this course is on October 27 and November 21, starting at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time.
Hi, Rebecca Hare here from the ACE course on the Education Exchange. Thank you for watching Inject Creativity Live. If you haven't taken the ACE course yet, definitely go to the Education Exchange and sign up, and I'll see you there.
Adobe Max is Adobe's largest global event, and it's happening next week from October 18 to 20.
So it is where Adobe announces new apps, new features within current apps, and celebrates digital creativity with a global audience.
This year, Adobe Max is a hybrid event that will be held with about 6,000 face-to-face attendees, but hundreds of thousands, if not millions, joining online from all parts of the globe.
Register via max.adobe.com to stay in touch and find out more about the world's biggest and best digital creativity event and join the education stream. Here is a clip
we
from
won't
past.
be playing the clip now because we're going to be running out of time.
We did go a little over time. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, let's just go straight into the next section. We've got something else to announce, and that is Adobe Teach Meets is coming back up again after a bit of a delay. We haven't had them for a little while. Adobe Teach Meets are a great opportunity for teachers to spend quality time with an Adobe expert. Jerry, do we have a slide about Adobe Teach Meets? I'm pretty sure there'll be one hiding away there. There we go. Beautiful. And it's a great opportunity.
Thanks, Jerry.
Hey, we have got this delay, which is causing all sorts of little issues for us, but we'll soldier through.
Yeah, a little bit of a drama.
Good. What happens at Teach Meets, Erin?
Well, at every Teach Meet, there are up to 5 workshop options for you to choose from, run by either an Adobe educational leader or by a member of the Adobe education team.
Look up and share adobe.ly/teachmeets to find out more and register your involvement.
The next Adobe Teach Meets will be on Wednesday, November 2 and Wednesday, November 30, starting at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So it's 3 p.m. for my colleagues up here in Queensland. Let's hear from some teachers about why you should register and get involved with the Adobe Teach Meets program.
It's a wonderful way just to stay connected to the Adobe community and see what's happening in the region. And to make the most of updates on tools and, some tips and techniques for the classroom from your fellow educators.
The Adobe Teach Meets program is always great to see what others are doing with Creative Cloud in the classroom.
The Adobe Teach Meets program is valuable because the topics delivered are varied and are interesting and delivered by classroom practitioners.
You can collaboratively explore different programs in the time slot with a chance to share and ask questions in a safe and supportive space.
The Adobe Teach Meets program is incredibly valuable because small groups with tailored presentations means that participating teachers receive a boutique and bespoke learning experience.
It's a fantastic way to work with and collaborate with other educators in meaningful ways without the heavy sales pitch.
Because I'm able to be inspired by like-minded educators who also love Adobe and share its vast array of uses.
Get on board with those Teach Meets, guys. It's a great way to stay connected.
Now, if you're on Facebook and you're not already a member of the Australasian Adobe Education Community Facebook group, please join via facebook.com/groups/AUSAEL.
Join us and keep regularly involved with Adobe in education and the wider community.
We have a newsletter called the Adobe in Education Update Australasia, which now has a new look via adobe.apac.edu.com. A number of new articles are now available to view.
Complete the contact form at adobe.ly/contact-edu-APAC if you don't already get a reminder about this publication each month and join the email list.
Hi, I'm Casey Trowbridge, Head of Adobe's Thought Leadership and Advocacy. Thanks for watching Inject Creativity Live. And if you're excited about creativity, take a listen to the Creative Educator Podcast.
Let's bring Juliet and Tim Cosgrove and Jerry up on the screen for our farewell. Juliet, any closing words from you?
No, just support one another, help one another in the classroom, have some fun, create.
Wonderful. Juliet, thank you so much for joining us this episode.
My pleasure.
Our next Inject Creativity Live event will feature an Adobe Express demo by the one and only Erin Raithke.
For those who've joined us live, please stay on this stream for the recording of the next episode and then on to the fireside chat with our presenters.
Thank you to Erin and Jerry for helping me put this show together. Juliet, have I said thank you to you? If I haven't, I want to thank you as well. Special thanks to Adobe Education Leader Tim Cosgrove from Canada, who has been monitoring the live online chat, but we haven't had a lot of chat for this episode. And thank you to those who are with us live.
You can view past episodes of Inject Creativity Live, as well as a new set of 30-minute Adobe for Education webinars by Dr. Tim Kitchen via the Adobe for Education YouTube channel at adobe.ly/ICL-playlist.
The next opportunity to join us for a recording of Inject Creativity Live will be on Wednesday, the 26th of October at 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, with special guest presenters Chris Betcher from Google, Drew Mayhills from All Saints College in Perth, and Elwyn Hunt from the Adobe Substance team. We'll see you at the next episode. See you later, folks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of Inject Creativity Live. If you are not watching this live, join us live next time. Use this QR code or link to find out about dates and topics. And use this QR code and link to find out about other Adobe in Education professional learning opportunities. On behalf of the Adobe in Education team, keep being creative. Welcome to the Inject Creativity Live Show. My name is Rob the Robot from the Adobe Education team. This is a free online show for primary, secondary and post-secondary educators interested in enhancing digital literacy, communication and creativity in the teaching and learning process. Here are your hosts, Dr. Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Thanks, Rob. Welcome to the Inject Creativity Live Show, a show aimed at empowering the next generation to be lifelong digital creators with the help of Adobe tools. Welcome, Erin.
Hi, Tim, and a welcome to everyone who's joined us live and those watching on demand via the Adobe for Education YouTube channel or the Australasian Adobe for Education Facebook group for this, the 81st episode of Inject Creativity Live. We are recording this in October of 2022.
For those of you who are with us live, we do encourage you to say hi in the chat, share where you're from and add some comments throughout the show.
We have the wonderful Tim Cosgrove from Canada in the background monitoring the chat, and he will share the most relevant comments as they come in.
Let's start this episode with an acknowledgement of country. We respect and honour all Indigenous people from the lands we reach out to during this event. We acknowledge their stories, traditions and living cultures. We acknowledge them as the first educators and the first creatives, and we commit to building a brighter future together. I'm coming to you from Wurundjeri land, or Wurundjeri land, as I think it should be pronounced, in the Kulin Nation, otherwise known as Melbourne, Victoria, Australia.
And I'm coming to you from the country of the Jagera, Yugara and Dagurapul people from around the area, otherwise known as Brisbane, Queensland, Australia.
Let's welcome our techie whiz and Adobe Senior Customer Success Manager, Jerry Wong, to the stage. Hi, Jerry. Oh, I think you're on mute there, Jerry. Oh, we're just not hearing you.
Hi, everyone. I'm
There we
coming
go.
to you
Got
from
you
the
now.
home of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, otherwise as known as Sydney, New South Wales. During this episode, we have Adobe Education Leader Emeritus Juliet Bentley as a special guest, and Erin will be sharing her presentation on critical and creative thinking with Adobe Express Search.
We will have a new, very simple browser-based podcasting app beta to show you.
We'll also be sharing a number of Adobe-related education resources and professional learning opportunities for you to take back to your schools, universities, and other places of learning.
We do hope you enjoy this episode.
And if you do, please share it with your colleagues and wider education networks via the Adobe for Education YouTube channel.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Well, let's meet our special guest for this episode and welcome back to the show, Juliet Bentley.
Huzzah! Thank you for coming back again, Juliet. For those who didn't meet you in our last episode, please tell us a bit about your teaching background and what you do these days.
Well, I was teaching for 33 years. I started off as a drama sociology sort of major, but I ended up going into the English and religion classroom. And when I met Tim, I got to experience what it was to take tech into an English and an RE class, which is really exciting. So I've had a lot of fun with using what was Adobe Slate, now Adobe Express. And now I'm in corporate world working for Datacom, helping teachers become more confident with their use of technology in the classroom, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Juliet, what's something interesting about you that not many people would know about?
I'm doing a lot of travel now that I wasn't ever expecting, and it's amazing how you go from carrying a big bag to managing to pack everything into little boxes and bags to put into a small bag and have enough clothes. Very strange. Not a bad skill.
Yes, a fabulous skill to roll everything up and get everything nice without it all being crinkled. It's definitely a bit of a life skill that you don't know you need until you need it. So thank you,
Absolutely.
Juliet. We're looking forward. Thanks. We're looking forward to hearing more from you very soon.
There's nothing worse than checking in luggage when you don't need to.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Well, Erin, I do have a very special new beta to share with you, and I'm just going to do this rather quickly. Let's just jump into it now. At the moment, it's called Shasta, S-H-A-S-T-A. You can look up shasta.adobe.com and you can request access. It's publicly available, but it's a beta. It's a publicly available beta. So you still need to request access at the moment. Jerry, if you wouldn't mind, if you're already doing that, just to make a banner of shastra.adobe.com, that would be fabulous. Oh, there we
I'll
go.
pop it into the comments for those people joining us live.
And with Shastra, and for those of you who are interested in podcasting, this is just another way of doing it through a browser, which is really cool. What I'm going to do first is I'm just going to click on that new project button. And when you do click on new project, it will open up. It's probably got a few little bugs in it still because it is in beta mode. And what you can do, you can upload recordings that you've already created previously if you wanted to, or you can just do the recordings directly through the browser. Now, if you click on this little magic plus add music button, you can choose from a range of royalty-free music. I might just choose high roller and go low energy. And if I like it, just here, get a preview of it. This could be a nice start to my podcast. So if I like that, I'll hit the plus symbol. So that bit of music is now loading in to be the start of my podcast. And it's gradually loading now, and we'll get a visual of it. So it's appearing now, so it's ready to go. And then to do the next part of my podcast, I might just start recording. So if I hit the record button here, Hello, everyone. Welcome to my brand new podcast that I'm trying out with shastra.adobe.com. And I'll start recording. So I've got my intro music and I've got my first little bit of audio recording. And if I want to play it back, I can just hit the play button and it'll play the music and then it'll play my audio recording. At the moment, it's 16 seconds in its entirety. A little bit of music. So there's a bit of a gap there, maybe. Oh, it's even got a transcript. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my brand new podcast that I'm trying out with Shastra. Well, it's not perfect yet, but it's getting there. And once I've done my basic recording, my different elements to it, I can go up to the top right-hand corner where I can just click share, and I can share this out, invite guests to join me or to add to the podcast. I can
fabulous.
download it.
So you can work asynchronously with your collaborators using a browser tool. That's really good.
It's amazing, isn't it? So we're not quite sure exactly what's going to happen with this as a product, whether it's going to be a product on its own or it's going to end up part of another suite of applications that we've got. It could end up being part of Adobe Express. Who knows what Adobe's got in mind for this? I certainly don't at the moment. But with Adobe Max just around the corner, although just when you're watching this episode, Adobe Max would have just happened. So maybe we do know now from Adobe Max what's going to happen with this app. But I just thought I'd introduce it to you so you can have a look at it. And like with all of our filters, we're all betas. We're looking for ideas on how you could use it and what you think of it. And hopefully, so Roland's just prompted here. There's also the clean audio output feature in it as well. It's got some filters that allow you to clean up any bad audio that you've recorded. Haven't got time to show that to you now, but I wanted to just give you a taste of shastra.adobe.com.
And I can see a request access button when I open that link that you shared, Tim. So I shall have to put it on my to-do list for this week to have a bit of a play.
Excellent. I hope you do. And let's hear from Brian. Or what's Roland saying? If you do not have a pro recording setup. Exactly. Yeah.
Good clean sound, even if you don't have a record. Yeah. Message received. Thank you so much, Roland.
Adobe Audition, of course, is a much more superior product, but not everyone has necessarily access to Adobe Audition.
If you've got a Chromebook, this is a great option.
Absolutely. And Bronwyn thinks it looks amazing. Good on you, Bronwyn. Excellent. Here's Brian.
Hello, welcome from Adobe's Global Education team, and thanks for watching Inject Creativity Live. If you're looking for more inspiration, learning, or resources, come join us at the Adobe Education Exchange at edx.adobe.com.
Well over 1 million teachers have joined the Adobe Education Exchange to get lesson ideas and professional learning based on making the most of their Adobe applications in the classroom.
One of the most popular courses on the Adobe Education Exchange is the Creativity for All course, which, when completed, allows you to join Level 1 of the Adobe Creative Educator program.
So far, close to 60,000 teachers have enrolled in the Creativity for All course.
If you look up adobe.ly/ACE, you can do the Creativity for All course on the Adobe Education Exchange at any time on demand to get your ACE Level 1 badge.
Alternatively, Erin and I run the Be a Creative Educator course almost on a monthly basis to help guide teachers through Level 1.
So look up adobe.ly/Creative Educator and note that the next opportunity for this course is on October 27 and November 21, starting at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time.
Hi everyone, I'm Tanya Abbott from the Global Education team here at Adobe for Education. I'm so excited that you are watching Inject Creativity Live. Please check us out with the Adobe Creative Educator program and be on the lookout for all the amazing challenges that we have every month. See you soon.
Adobe has a new resource that maps Adobe Education Exchange teaching resources to the Australian curriculum called School Project and Lesson Ideas with Adobe.
Look up adobe.ly/AC-projects to make the most of this new resource and share it with your colleagues.
Hi, I'm Tacey Trowbridge, head of Adobe's Thought Leadership and Advocacy. Thanks for watching Inject Creativity Live. And if you're excited about creativity, take a listen to the Creative Educator podcast.
Well, let's welcome Erin with her presentation on critical and creative thinking with Adobe Express Search. Over to you, Erin.
Thanks very much, Tim, and I'll just add my presentation to the screen. There we go. So I've got this presentation that I created using Adobe Express in my browser as a PDF, just so that you know how the cake is made. I'll be swapping between some tabs as I go. So the clock starts now. So metacognition, that's the awareness or analysis of one's own learning or thinking processes. Now, when we're thinking about metacognition, thinking about thinking, this is something that can be incorporated from K through 12 all the way through to any higher learning adult migrant English programs, using tools thoughtfully in a very simple way. Now, my suggestion in this instance is in line with the ACARA principles for critical and creative thinking. Now, creative thinking involves students learning to generate and apply new ideas in specific contexts, seeing existing situations in a new way, identifying alternative explanations, and seeing or making new links that generate a positive outcome. So my suggestion for this presentation is a way that you can achieve these things within the platform of Adobe Express, specifically the way you use the search in Adobe Express. Now, Adobe Express is like any other search engine. It has tags or keywords that are attached to the assets that are within them, whether it's images or design assets or the little icons, logos, shapes that you will find within that platform. Now, as an example here, you'll see that I pulled the word Spark using thesaurus.com and brought up what you will see here, which is the definition options for Spark. I popped the link into my presentation. So when you look at the word Spark, if you look at it from a vocabulary building exercise, there are lots of other words that are associated with the word Spark that might be used within a software or search engine to tag a particular image or asset. The trick when it comes to this is you need to think about how you might search to find what you're looking for. But more deeply than that, as an activity with your learners, I don't just want to say students, this is learners all the way through, as I said, to adult programs. You want to introduce those learners to the concept that when they're searching for something, they need to think about not just the words that they might use to be looking for things, but also words that other people might have tagged things that they want to find with in order to more comprehensively search for what you're after. So say, for instance, if someone is looking for something and they use the keyword Spark, but then you also think about, okay, there might be someone who doesn't use the word Spark in their vocabulary as often as, say, for instance, fans of formerly known as Adobe Spark. They might use the word glow or they might use the word flare. And even though these words are closely associated, when you enter them into the search within a search engine like Adobe Express, you start to get variable results that come up in that search engine. Now, there's also the definitions that come up when you start looking for things like flare, glow, and spit are all different synonyms for the word spark, but they mean vastly different things. So I've just included that comparison there so that you can start to think about how just that slight change in approach can change the results that students see, but how you can then build this as a visual example of how they might have to start thinking about how other people might be thinking about what they're looking for. This isn't just for them to find pictures in Adobe Express. This is a building block for learners to start thinking about how they themselves can search for things on the internet as information becomes ubiquitous online, there's more and more and more information, and we need to equip our lifelong learners with the tools to think critically and creatively about what they're looking for so that they can find appropriate information more easily. So here comes the thinking exercise for this particular discussion. Here's an example image that I've pulled out of the Adobe stock that's available through Adobe Express. Now, look at this image. If you needed to find this picture, how would you search for it? Now, I have, for people who are joining us live, as well as people who join who might be looking back at the recording later, I have created a little Menti poll where you can have your say and join in on the options that you might add if you were popping a search to look for something like this in a search engine. All of the details are in there, so please use your mobile devices or grab that URL to join in the conversation after this recording. But here's some options that I prepared earlier with a quick survey. Now, these are some of the keywords that were come up, so that were generated based on, if I was looking for this kind of image, what might I punch in to try to find something similar? So if you're looking at the image, it's, you know, if there's a fuzzy bear, there's a child. They look like they're friends. They're sitting close. They're hugging. There's might be love or care. They might be together or togetherness. There's cuteness. They're babies. You can see bottoms. You can see a teddy. But then when you actually start to break it down, you think to yourself, okay, well, we in Australia might be looking at that picture and go, oh, they're wearing nappies or wearing a nappy. Whereas if you were in the Northern Hemisphere in America, you look at that and go, well, those are diapers. So those are two different terms, completely separate terms that describe exactly the same thing. And then more deeply than that, using the right or wrong word can greatly change what you find online or what is tagged in search databases. So if we were to share to look for nappies, we might get different search results than if we search for a singular nappy. Same for diapers, friend versus friends, child versus children. The more you build up and the more you extend search terms, the more it will actually exclude results that may only be tagged with the shorter or singular version of that word. So when you're searching for things, whether it's in databases or using a search engine like Google, it's incredibly important for our learners to be acclimated to the idea that what terms they are using will slightly or significantly affect what they see. So another example is Australia versus the US. We have different spellings for different words. A great example is color versus color with a UR that we use in Australia. If you go into Adobe Express and you search in images and you look for the word color, OUR, you will definitely get different results than if you just search for color with just the OR at the end of the word. Now, if you follow the link that's at the bottom of this frame and actually go to the Adobe stock image that I used as an example, these are actually the keywords that were used to reference this image. So we've got adorable, children, childhood, encouragement, parenting, sitting, to sit. So you can see whoever was adding the keywords to this particular image has actually gone through and tried to have a bit of a think about some of the different things that you may search for that may be enough of a variant to exclude this image from their search. You can also see things that might not have even occurred to someone who's from a non-marketing background, like the keyword here, copy space, has been included. And if we go back an image, we can actually see in the full version of this image that there is room around the child and the toy to actually place text and advertising for multiple purposes around the image. You can also see that there's other keywords that wouldn't have even occurred to me, like protection, or what's another one? Asian. I wouldn't have looked at that particular image and had that pop into my brain. And yet the person who indexed this for search included those search words because to them, it would be a natural thing that people would use to find it. So what is the point of this particular exercise? If you are thinking about your own thinking, and then thinking about how others are thinking, for lifelong learners, isn't that a short jump to curiosity and empathy, which then leads into the ACARA curriculum requirements and general capabilities for critical and creative thinking. When we practice things like curiosity and empathy, we are flexing those muscles and sharing with our lifelong learners abilities that they can use not just to find some pretty pictures to add to a graphic for a school project in Adobe Spark, but also to help them think about the information that they're looking for. And not just that, but also how to contemplate how the contributors that would be adding those, sorry, my dog's having a bit of a complaint in the background, the contributors who are adding those resources into the databases that they're searching, how they might approach and therefore list their information to give our learners an opportunity to be able to find them and critically evaluate them a little bit more easily. Because our goal at the end of the day is to create lifelong learners who think about not just their own contributions, but also think about the things that they are looking at, searching for, and taking in a little bit more deeply, critically, and with a deal of curiosity. So if anybody has any questions, I'll have a quick look at the chat, Tim.
No questions, although Roland's talking about the correlation there between what you're talking about there and design
thinking. Yes, I can see that. And also Bronwyn says it's good to have an alternative way of understanding literature, and using the visual image first will enhance learners' creativity and critical thinking. Roland also points out, is it like learning taxonomy, viewing it as how the user would search the internet and look for information?
Juliet, what's some of your thoughts about that?
I like the fact that you're making people think about their visual literacy, understanding tone, because obviously the key terms you're going to be looking for are going to have an influence. But more than that, you're showing students, you're showing all learners and teachers how to prepare themselves and future-proof themselves for the workforce, because these are lifelong skills. These are some of the 9 skills that all people are supposed to be working toward, so they can be retrained, relearn all the way through their lives. And you've done a great job of that today. Thank you, Erin.
Yeah, it's what especially sort of gets me going about thinking about this concept is that 20, 30 years ago when I was in high school, I was doing photography, right, in a dark room, developing actual chemical photographs. There was not a place where I could have taken those photographs, uploaded them to the world, and then had to have thought about what key search terms I would add to my photos in order to get them a larger audience, or order to make them more commercial, or to contribute them to a stock photography website to include that in my income. That simply wasn't something that was even available when I was in high school. And I'd like to think I was in school not all that long ago. So this rapid change of the things that we have to incorporate into what we deliver to our students is changing and increasing exponentially. And by introducing little thinking points like this into simple activities like creating a lovely poster, mentioning how different words can affect what they see, starts them on the path to being able to think about what they want to find, but also maybe how they want to frame what they put out into the world.
Yeah, I think also the element that you've touched on there is also about the fact that we can collaborate, we can share, we can support. We are now creating not consumers, but creators. And by giving our students and all of us as learners the opportunity, we're going to be in a better position for them to take those skills into the workplace, but take them out into life and support one another. Because that's the whole point, isn't it? We're supposed to be creating, not consuming. And I think when our students see us do that, that's really, really important. Critical thinking is so important, and learning dispositions, because the disposition to actually go looking for these words, exploring them, seeing where they take you, that's about a learning disposition, and that's something that we have to really pay attention to with our students now, particularly.
Lots of great comments there from Dr. Bronwyn Wade-Lewin, from Roland in Manila, and thank you very much, Erin. And you managed to get through that whole presentation with all those distractions from your dog and your baby and possibly your husband too at the same time. So thank you for doing that. We've got to keep moving through this.
It was only the dog scratching to get in. It's all good too.
Excellent, good. We're going to hear from Claudio here, who's an Adobe evangelist in North America.
Hi there, it's Claudio from the Adobe Global EDU team. Thanks for watching Inject Creativity Live. If you haven't already, join the Adobe Creative Educator Program.
Adobe TeachMeets are a great opportunity for teachers to spend quality time with an Adobe expert on a particular app and how it can be used to help teaching and learning.
At every TeachMeet, there are up to 5 workshop options for you to choose from, run by either an Adobe Education leader or a member of the Adobe Education team.
Look up and share adobe.ly/teachmeets to find out more and register your involvement.
The next Adobe TeachMeets will be on Wednesday, November 2 and Wednesday, November 30, both starting at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time.
Hi, Rebecca Hare here from the ACE course on the Education Exchange. Thank you for watching Inject Creativity Live. If you haven't taken the ACE course yet, definitely go to the Education Exchange and sign up, and I'll see you there.
If you're on Facebook and you're not already a member of the Australasian Adobe Education Community Facebook group, please join via facebook.com/groups/AUSAEL.
Join us and keep regularly involved with Adobe in education and the wider community.
We have a newsletter called the Adobe in Education Update Australasia, which now has a new look via adobeapacedu.com.
Please complete, there we go, the contact form at adobe.ly/contact-edu-apac if you don't already get a reminder about this publication each month, and join the email list.
Let's hear that familiar music, Jerry, in the background while we bring up Juliet, Tim Cosgrove. Jerry, bring yourself up as well onto the screen so we can do our farewells. Juliet, thank you for being involved in this as our special guest and contributing. Much appreciated. Any closing words from you?
No, just keep engaging with what we're doing and keep being curious.
Our next Inject Creativity Live event will be recorded on Wednesday, the 26th of October at 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, with special guest presenters Chris Betcher from Google, Drew Mayhills from All Saints College in Perth, and Elwyn Hunt from the Adobe Substance team.
Thank you to Erin. Oh, sorry, that's Tim's. So thank you to Tim and Jerry for putting this show together, and a special thanks to Adobe Education leader Tim Cosgrove from Canada, who has been monitoring the live online chat, and a very special thank you to those who have joined us live this evening.
I think I did read the wrong part there, Erin. Sorry.
It's okay. So I'll continue on. You can view past episodes of Inject Creativity Live, as well as a new set of 30-minute Adobe for Education webinars by Dr. Tim Kitchen via the Adobe for Education YouTube channel at adobe.ly/ICL-playlist.
For those watching the recording, see you at the next episode. For those of you who are with us live, join us for an informal fireside chat via adobe.ly/edu-meet-APAC. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you at our next Inject Creativity Live show. Bye for now.
Fabulous. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of Inject Creativity Live. For those who are watching live, join us now via adobe.ly/edu-meet-apac for an informal, non-recorded fireside chat to meet and interact with our presenters and other audience members. During this informal chat, you will be able to complete the feedback form and apply for a professional development certificate. If you are not watching this live, join us live next time. Use this QR code or link to find out about dates and topics. And use this QR code and link to find out about other Adobe in Education professional learning opportunities. On behalf of the Adobe in Education team, keep being creative.